you so much for being on here today. You know, this call is going to be just a little bit different, different than some of the other calls that we have, because this is not us giving you lots and lots and lots of information. Instead, giving you some things that are happening, and then really finding out who people are and what's going on in your state, which I appreciate you all giving shout outs from the different states. Find out what's going on in your state, what's going on in your business, what's going on as you go across the country, what's happening. We know that we have some people at our locations, they're doing tremendous work, and others, you know, they're looking to see what do we do and how do we do it. So we want to share the information, and we really want to celebrate the good things that are happening, because we have some great things that are happening. Dennis just sent out an email this morning that we've passed 800 for the year. I mean, that's shut down. I was on a call earlier this week. We had 17 states that were ahead of their tax contributions. States, and have I mentioned down as a country? So these are great things. We want to talk about those things, and we want to share some of the things that are happening. I noticed that Corey was on here. We do have a change here with staff, and Corey Matthews is joining us. Some of you may know that Michelle Grass is 16, and so she's going to be transitioning over to responsibility. So we've got Corey on here. Would you like to say good morning and introduce yourself to everyone?
Absolutely. Thank you, Cami. I'm Corey Matthews. I'm the new VP of Member and Chapter Services. We're really excited to be working with you. I've got a great team and had a great onboarding process with Michelle. And so I look forward to working closely with all of you. Welcome.
Great, great. Thanks, Corey. Corey is taking over our association services. So many of you may be working with him. You may need his help as you're pulling together. So I wanted you all to be able to see the name on there. So, oh, Joe Challam says that my video is breaking up. Joe, it's probably in the States on our internet. You have to pipe that stuff in down here in Arkansas. So we're deeply committed. You know, we're all deeply committed to the vision, to the mission, to the industry, and we're all changing our plans. This has been a time of great change. You know, we've never had a time like this where essentially is shut down. And so we've had to adapt our plans. We've had to adapt our personal plans. We've had to adapt our business plans, adapt Nathan National's plans. You know, we're not having a congressional conference. We're not having the diversity symposium. Instead, we've transitioned that over. I shouldn't say we're not having it, having face-to-face. Instead, we're transitioning that over, and we're having an online experience. And Kevin's going to talk a little bit more about NAFA impact and what's going on. But really, our job as leaders, and as we're forward, as we're leaders in our community, in our business, in our lives, leaders in NAFA, is really to try to figure out what in the world are we doing and how are we going to do it? How are we going to move forward? There's lots of changes that are taking place. You know, Larry and I, we were on a call talking about all the changes that are taking place. Every day, there's new rules, there's changes that are coming out with regards to, you know, the payroll plan, the EIDL, the FFCRA legislation. There's new legislation, there's new rules that are coming out every day. And so in times of change, when we're trying to make decisions like this, oftentimes it's hard to get information, we have enough time. And so it's hard to really think through and connect all the things to make for this. You know, that can be a difficult job. However, you all have the upper hand. This is something that you do every day. Every day you meet with clients. Every day you take in these vast amounts of information. Every day you talk to people and try to figure out what do they want to do? What are their goals? Which direction do they want to take? And so you all are shifted to right now. You're able to do that right now. You're able to make that right now. So what we would like to do as we move forward with, and I got another message here that I had an error here, I'll switch in just a moment, is to really look forward to look at what we can do. Then I'll switch over to my phone on this, if I can connect a little bit better. Why don't you go ahead and talk about some of the new things that are happening and how we've already adjusted in the tools and the resources that we have for folks.
Cami, did you say?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you were breaking up. Again, welcome everybody to the call. Thank you for joining us. I know that you have a lot of restraints on your time, and I know that NAIFA has been in all these virtual meetings quite a bit over the past month and a week or two. Again, thank you for being here today. We just got off a call that took place over the last hour with our chapter staff executives to make sure, again, they're brought up to speed with all the stuff that's going on, that they understand the critical role that they play as part of our larger NAIFA team in delivering unparalleled value to our members and also showing prospective members all the great stuff NAIFA does every day. We only had about 24 of our chapter executives on that call. So I'd ask you guys as chapter presidents, if you do have a staff professional that's working with you, whether it's with an association management company or a dedicated professional, please encourage them to attend those calls if they can. I know that, from time to time, conflicts come up, and that's part of life. But if we can get them on those calls or once a month, it'll really help with the communication and information flow, and it'll better help all of us work together as a seamless team. Local chapters, local affiliates, state chapters, NAIFA itself, staff professionals and volunteers all working together to do the right thing for our association. Again, we've had a lot of great opportunities. Sometimes, with lemons, you have to make lemonade. And while this COVID-19 scenario has been crippling on the American economy and really uprooted life from what we've all been used to something just very different over the course of the past 5 weeks, what it has provided us with, it's provided us with some great opportunities and some opportunities to, again, showcase all the great stuff that a professional association can do, should do, and in our case is doing for our members every single day. So what we've been trying to do is provide that sense of community so all of our folks know, even though you might be at home, in my case, in my condo in Arlington, Virginia, or you might be in the basement of your home, or you might be at your kitchen table just doing work today, know you're not really alone, that your NAIFA family is here for you. We're here to support you. We're here to help you do good things. And that goes for you guys as key volunteer leaders, but it also goes for every other NAIFA member that's out there. And so we've been trying to do that through a series of virtual events, both with Big Idea conferences, with NAIFA Live, which of course we debuted about 1.5 years ago, and then of course these town halls that have taken place over the past few weeks. And these town halls have really been an opportunity to gather folks together, to teach them how you can work in this virtual environment, how you can actually prospect in this environment, how you can communicate better with your clients, and then on top of that, keep them informed as to what's been going on here in Washington, D.C. and state houses all across the country related to relief packages, related to states loosening requirements around licensure on a temporary basis, allowing new and creative ways that you can do business with your clients virtually and digitally, as opposed to necessarily in person, and doing things that can, again, help you best do what you all as advisors do every day, and that's helping your clients be financially prepared for their futures. And our town halls, I tell you, have been a resounding success. We've had some of them that we've only had a few hundred people, but again, a few hundred people is great, gathering at one time to get some real camaraderie and some interaction and some tips and tricks at one time. To have several thousand people on a webinar at one time. Our first town hall on the CARES Act, which we did about 2 weeks ago, drew 2,317 people to the live performance. 2,317 folks were actually on there at one time listening to the presentation that was given. And then we had countless hundreds of downloads of that video afterwards, and we even had carriers asking us if they could take that video and distribute that to their field force so they better understood the CARES Act. An absolutely incredible way to showcase the value that NAIFA brings to the profession and to the industry. We did the same thing yesterday with a deeper dive into the Paycheck Protection Program and what that means to folks. And with it, even though we only had about 35 minutes for the call, we had 2,117 people registered for that call. More than 70% of them attended live. So 1,500 folks were that webinar live, digesting that information. And again, hundreds more are now looking at the archived version and the PowerPoint deck that we have. And then we had so many questions that were asked from that. We're doing a follow-up town hall next Wednesday just to go through the 78 questions that were posed in the Q&A box on the webinar that we couldn't get to during the call because of time. So we'll organize those and we'll go through them methodically next week and get folks answers to those questions. But again, that's the stuff that a professional association does for its members. And this is a real opportunity for us as NAIFA at every level to deliver that kind of value. So from NAIFA itself on the national level, we're going to continue to do that and push out that programming. But also I would encourage you all as our chapter leaders at the local level and at the state level, do the same thing. Make sure you've got good interaction with your members. Make sure that they know, A, that you care about them and you want to make sure they're doing okay. B, deliver this kind of opportunity to spread information and to let people connect, even if it is in a virtual sense. And C, also let them know about the incredible resources that NAIFA has available to help them, such as the COVID-19 resource kits on both the NAIFA site as well as our consumer site, which is financialsecurity.org. And in that consumer-facing site, there's also one-page type PDFs that they can print up or that they can deliver electronically to their, our members can do to their customers so that they stay informed about things that are going on. They understand the high-level stuff that's available in the different aid packages and also resources that can help them protect themselves against scams and some of the bad stuff that's going on in this environment. So again, we're doing our best to innovate every single day to stay on top of things. We're going to keep doing that. If you all, as our key volunteer leaders out there, can think of more things we can be doing to showcase NAIFA's value proposition, to get the word out and engage more people, to help our members, again, get engaged so they can continue to prosper in their jobs, but also to reach out to others in the profession and say, hey, NAIFA, whether you're a member or not, really is the professional association for the entire insurance and financial services industry. And we would invite you to participate in our activities. And on top of that, hopefully join, because you see the great value that we're bringing to you every single day. Cammie, did you want me to go through the NAIFA Impact Week as well?
Yes, please talk about that. Share what we're doing with that.
Okay, great. So again, as Cammie mentioned, unfortunately, our congressional conference had to be canceled because, of course, people aren't going to be able to get to Washington, D.C. in mid-May, and the hotel is closed till at least June 2nd, and the Capitol itself is actually closed. So we had to figure out what are we going to do with that, because we want to still, advocacy is such a core part of our mission. We wanted to continue to focus on that, but we also wanted to make sure that the other stuff that we tend to do in conjunction with the congressional conference continues. So we have repurposed that week to be NAIFA Nation Impact Week. And what's great about it is we have an opportunity now for all advisors all across the country to attend each of these events free of charge and for the convenience of wherever they can get an internet signal, whether that be at home, whether that be if they're still going to their office there or any other place, to be able to log on and to learn and to grow. So on Tuesday, May 19th, we've got our diversity symposium, and that is going to be a 3-hour dive into, again, what we need to do to serve diverse markets in this country, what we can do to recruit more diverse professionals to join this profession and to get involved, and what we as an association can better do to reflect the true diverse tapestry of the membership that we have at NAIFA. So it's going on Tuesday, May 19th. On Wednesday, May 20th, we have our Advocacy and Action Day, which is a great opportunity to hear from our government relations team, the contractors and lobbyists that NAIFA has engaged to work on your behalf every day on Capitol Hill, to hear from them, and also to hear from members of Congress as to, again, the latest, what's going on with COVID-19, other issues that might be impacting you and your livelihood. And then we'll talk about ways that you can be impactful, continuing to influence public policy, even if you won't be here in DC for that face-to-face opportunity, what you can do back in the district and what we can continue to do throughout the year by engaging digitally. So all that will take place on Wednesday, May 20th. And then on Thursday, it's like a whole bonus day, May 21st, we're going to have a leadership day, which will really help you hone your skills as a leader, become a better leader, learn how to, again, work in this sort of digital environment more, how to motivate your team to do well, and then, again, how you can better serve your clients. And I think we're going to have a big announcement about some special guests that are going to be appearing during Leadership Day that we should get on the next week or so once we have everything absolutely confirmed but that day is going to be huge for us, as is the entire week. And all 3 of those days are open to everyone, whether you're a member of NAIFA or not. Again, so we can showcase NAIFA's value, and we can actually do some lead generation and help us prospect for membership moving forward. And again, they're all free of charge. 3-hour block, noon to 3 p.m. Eastern time, each of those days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, May 19th through the 21st. So we hope we'll have a ton of folks joining us. And I predict that when you add it up, we will have more people attend NAIFA programming that week than we've had NAIFA members attend any event in our entire history. So mark that down, and we'll report back on our results after May 21st. Again, great opportunity for us. We're going to do great stuff. NAIFA's always got your back. If there's more we can do for you, please let us know, because we're in this together. And as our tagline says, together we can take on anything. Thank you, Cammie.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. We did have a question that came up while you were talking about the resources. Where's the toolkit and where are the resources on that? So if we can post that, and can you talk just a little bit about that?
Sure. So what we've done is we've got an incredible marketing and communications team led by Suzanne Carawan. But those resources, the COVID-19 resources, are available basically on every NAIFA website. So when you go to the NAIFA site, which is belong.naifa.org, you'll see it's available there. But also, if you go to our consumer-facing site, which again is financialsecurity.org, there's an entire COVID-19 resource kit, and then that is available not only for advisors to utilize, but it's got stuff on there for the general public, including, again, those one-pagers on, again, what you should do in this time, what's some big Q&A kind of stuff for consumers. And it has links to the latest federal guidance, stuff coming out from the White House, from the CDC, from other governmental and health authorities. And it's got information about cyber scams and things like that are out there as some unscrupulous characters try to take advantage of folks during this time. So again, it's NAIFA being a great resource for consumers all across this country. And by the way, you guys have probably noticed this, but we've had a lot of members of the House and Senate have sat back when folks have contacted them with questions about their financial future. They've actually directed them to NAIFA. And they said, hey, contact a NAIFA member because they'll be glad to help you with that. And even several of them have tweeted about it online. What an incredible thing when you've got members of the U.S. House and Senate sitting back and telling their constituents, find a NAIFA member because they'll take care of you. Incredible times.
Those are incredible times. Also, on that website, we've got some different videos that feature some of our members as well. So if somebody wanted to do a general video, I know we've got Jennifer Hodges on here. She did one. We've got some other people on here that did them. How would they contact us as well so that they could let us know that they would like to record one of those videos?
Okay. Hey, Suzanne, why don't you take that one because you can show them exactly what they need to do.
Okay, all right, I sure will. So just to showcase everybody, this is our financialsecurity.org site that goes to security.naifa.org. Kevin was referencing that the resource kits we put together for COVID-19, we keep releasing these. And so each one has information about that particular topic. This one, the scams one, is the one in particular that got a huge amount of pickup from congressional leaders and insurance commissioners. We're looking at this one quite a bit, so we got a lot of good pickup from that, and we have some more categories to add as well. I believe it's the videos we're adding in, so we're collecting the videos and we're adding them in there. But you can see here's Jennifer Hodges, right? So that's in the way, and so we've got Jennifer Hodges over here, and then we also have Karina Hatfield in here. So what a great way to go direct to consumer and showcase our members while doing that. So if you wanted to sign up for that, the place to do that is actually within the members site. And so if I go within the members site, I'm going to come over here to the volunteer, and it's double starred. So you see it to say, here's what I want to do. I want to help out with COVID-19 for financialsecurity.org. And I would go right in here and I can see the example, and I can just book time directly onto Zach and Andy's calendar. And what they'll do, so you book your time, it works for you with what we've got available, and they'll get you and they'll prep you and they'll make sure your lighting's right and the sound's right, and we'll do the recording for you and we'll clip it and edit it and then put it out and launch it. And so right now we're trying to get as many of these in the door as possible. And we have kind of two flavors of that. One flavor would be, I want to tell somebody specifically about something pertaining to COVID-19 during these times, and I want to put something out like people are asking, about business interruption insurance or something, you want to convey something about that. But we're also doing videos about getting people into the profession, right? And just letting them know that as well. And that'll be ongoing. So again, always opportunities. The more members, the more we can have you guys out there and promote it. That's our job. So that's where you would find those materials. And then lastly, on our public facing site, if you go to that, we also, again, have peppered as many places as we can with places that's not what I wanted to do. Places where we can get the COVID-19 materials. And then you can see right here under advocacy, here's another place that we've got materials right here as well. Okay. And since I'm there, I'll just let you know the events are there. Here's the town halls, NAIFA Impact Week. Okay. I think those were all the questions.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we did have one more question here. We had a question from Jennifer Williams, and she's asking, will we have invites that we can share on social media for NAIFA Impact Week?
Yeah, great question. So we do have the social media graphics that are now available. We haven't gotten further than that because the schedule is just now coming together. And as you guys know, can't market much without the schedule. So I think we pretty much have that shaped up. And then yes, we're going to have a PDF attachment. We'll have all the kit for you to be able to send it out and get that going. So
Great.
should I show that real quick too? Just since we got everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we get that piece of information, Suzanne? And under the Leader Center, this is where our marketing resources are. You can see if you've never seen this before, all of the programs that we have the materials for. You just come in and you click the card, and that's kind of fun right there. And then you go right to the kit. And the kit is going to have all the graphics in here and are all of the materials that we have that you can take, and you can just download it and you'll have it. Or everybody can pass that out and use that, and we'd love that.
And again, encourage your friends, your colleagues, anyone who's a financial security professional. We would love to have them on attend one or all three of those events during NAIFA Impact Week. So again, the more folks, the merrier. The bigger we can become, the more impactful we can be. And again, together we can take on anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all for your questions on this, and thank you, Kevin and Suzanne, for answering them. And please stick around. I know we'll have more questions as we go through this, because this is really designed to help everyone here and for us to share our thoughts and share our ideas as we go along. So let's talk about, what are you doing to, here's a question, will Impact Week be recorded? And that's a good question on here. We know that a lot of our town halls that we've been doing, Kevin mentioned the one where we had over 2,300 people on it this past week. I don't know if we have all the numbers yet, but we had over 2,100 people that registered for the webinar just yesterday, the town hall just yesterday. So we're having lots of people that are coming, but we also have these companies as well that have reached out to us and that have said, hey, how do we get this? How do we share this with our field force? So if you have groups that want to see this, or if you want to see this, we are recording these. Suzanne shook her head yes. Kevin said yes. We will be recording Impact Week, so you can take these and you can use these as well. It says, can we encourage non-members to Impact Week, and will we be presenting the agency presentation? Well, that's a great question. That's the next topic here is, how are we promoting NAIFA Impact Week? How are you all doing that? We're not going to be there, in person. We're not having our regular traditional congressional conference. So how will you go about promoting this and encouraging non-members? And we do have our new agency presentation. I know that Dennis is on here, but how can we encourage non-members to be a part of this? What are some answers that you all have?
Super, I mean,
plus these exactly.
you know,
Oh, no problem. Okay? Yep, just like it's supposed.
If anybody wants to raise their hand or something, we can unmute you, or I can unmute everyone. Up to you, Kemi.
You know what?
Email to him and Chris about getting something on the calendar, but nothing back yet.
So much for
Okay,
that.
sounds like we better mute everybody.
Okay, Matthew,
Tom,
just-
tell here's Jennifer Williams. Jennifer, share with us some ways that we can promote NAIFA Impact Week to non-members.
Well, I think we've got the audience of a lot of people who are already, they're sidelined at home. They're paying more attention to their emails. They're more apt or open to attending webinars. Everybody's got into that normalcy of sitting in on webinars, and a lot of people are having like social happy hours via Zoom. A lot of people are congregating via Zoom. And I think if we ask our members to reach out and invite, if everybody just invited one non-member alone and we were to give that agency presentation, which Dennis does a fantastic job, I think we're setting up the perfect storm to, this is the best time for us to ask for those people to join NAIFA. And I don't think we're going to get another opportunity like that anywhere in the near future. But now's the time to ask, because people want to belong to something that is positive. We're being creative. We're being innovative. We're there for our members and for our clients. And that financial literacy website is outstanding. It's a great time to showcase that. But I think if we just encouraged and started from the top down to all of our locals and affiliates, to the states and then locals and affiliates, and asked, at least everybody ask one person to be on this call, they're never going to get an opportunity like this again. They don't have to fly or pay to go into Washington, D.C., but they can still get the results of, what we're doing, but just sitting in the comforts of their house.
That's very true. Very true. Yes, and while you were talking, Tom was talking about, Suzanne shared the marketing materials that are available to you. So we're going to be promoting that on a national level. We're going to be putting together resources and tools that we'll be using, and we'll be pushing it out on social media and on a variety of different platforms. But then we need your help as well. We need our states to help us promote this as well. And then what we're doing is when we get these folks that are coming in and that are participating, then, that's another prospect for us. We're putting all of those together. So Dennis, I know that you're on here. Talk a little bit about the agency presentations and talk about some things that they might be able to do follow-up wise with some of these people.
Thank you. You can do the agency presentations virtually. It's a good way to keep in touch, to hone up your skills. We are going to be preparing a post-COVID-19 agency presentation. It's going to look very similar to the one that we have right now, but it will talk about what NAIFA has done across the country to help the country financially in its current environment. We'll have that out to you. What I'm asking leaders to do is to become familiar with the agency presentation now. Download it, take a look at it, rehearse it a couple of times, so that when we come out of this, you'll be prepared to present it. And virtually every agency manager I've spoken to in the past few weeks have all indicated the same thing. When this ends, they're having a welcome back meeting for their producers. That's the perfect time to reach out to them. One of the things I've heard through a couple of states is that they've developed a list of managers who are non-members, and they're encouraging them to join the town halls. They're encouraging them to invite their producers to the town halls. It gives NAIFA a lot more exposure. If anyone has any questions, just type it in the box there, email me privately, or just give me a call. Be happy to help you all out.
Great. Thank you, Dennis, and thank you and your team. Yes.
Jennifer,
thank you for you and your team.
We're here raising our hands now. We're all in school again.
I didn't see. Who's raising their hand?
I just had a thought. Is there a way that we could get, if from National, everyone who's attending the May 19th, 2021, is there a way that we could get down to the locals and affiliates that are non-members, get those out to those local, so that, for an example, if there's 5 people from Fresno, we can get those list of non-members and have a personal follow-up call from me or from someone we know has a good relationship with them, and follow up on the call, get their feedback, what they think about it. Ask them to join. It's that personal ask. Is there a way that we can get a list of those non-members out to us who are
Yes,
attendance in those 3 days?
Yes, we will be capturing everyone's name, name, phone number, email address, and the state that they're located in, as well as possibly some additional information. And we'll be pushing those out to you all.
The same as we've done with the town hall meetings. We've captured that
Yes.
information and begun pushing that out as well.
And sharing social media, liking everything that NAPA puts out, sharing it so that it has more impact and we're able to reach more people socially.
So I just want to make sure we're really accurate, because this data that we're talking about is so important to all of us. And so we've just done the first, and this is a great time to talk about it because it's exactly the process we're trying to put together, right? So National runs all these campaigns. We generate all these people and leads. Then we want to cycle it through, get it cleaned up a little bit, and then have it distribute it back out and get it into your hands so you can do those calls with like warm leads. Let me ask you guys a question if I can, because we have a debate internally. So right now we're collecting first name, last name, email, and state. If we add phone number, the phone number is always the one where we want it, but will it detract from people registering? Because if you put that phone number in there, they know that they're going to get called. So Jennifer, you're saying add the phone number, make sure we collect it. So do we have a consensus on that? Because that's a big debate internally about registrations will drop off if you require all that information.
Everything I register for every webinar that we've attended in the last 3 weeks requires your first name, last name, email, and phone number.
Done. Then we would have the data that we really need to have. Okay, great.
Okay. Lynette, did you have a thought?
Well, I did, but I don't remember what it was. I got sidetracked by looking at the material on the website. So, but I think that what was on my mind was really kind of what we're talking about here is just how to reach out to people and make sure that we're contacting people who are interested and not so much bugging people who might not be, right? We want people to be into it when they come, right? And learn more about it.
Right, right. Well, and talking about how do we promote this, one thing that we've got is most of our states, they allocate money in their budget for travel. And we're not traveling now. So how could you repurpose that money to either promote this or to promote leadership or to promote people going to P+P? How could you repurpose that money? What are some things that some of you are doing with those extra funds?
We just had our meeting last week, our board meeting virtually, and decided to repurpose our travel funds for congressional conference to some scholarships for new members, brand new members. And so we're going to launch a campaign to NAPA's Got Your Back campaign, and together we can take on anything. Just help people become more involved with your organization from a broader perspective, and sign them up for EFT and just handhold them.
Great, great. So you're repurposing part of your travel money and using it to help with membership. Very good, very good. Is there any other ideas of how you might repurpose that money and use it to help to promote NAPA Impact Week?
I'm going to chime in because everybody's so quiet. But so I don't know that we had really thought that much about promoting Impact Week until like this discussion really starts to make me think about how helpful that can be to people and something they can look forward to, because that's what we're trying to do, is give people a sense of community when they're feeling a little bit all alone, right? And so I feel like I need to pull my team back together and ask them, you know, how can we make the most out of this, right? And maybe even hold out some of the funding that we were just going to focus on membership for Impact Week, because I'm super excited about Impact Week. So I definitely will be pulling my team back together to talk about it a little bit more. But I'm excited to see these materials, so thank you guys so much for that.
Awesome, thank you. So talking about teams, and you're talking about, you know, pulling your team together and talking about this, how are you connecting with your boards right now? How are you talking? Are you communicating with one another? Are you having virtual meetings? Are you having Zoom meetings? Are you connecting via conference call? How are you doing that?
We're on Zoom.
You're on Zoom? Okay.
This is Chris Gandy in Chicago. I mean, we're doing Zoom. We've got a series of meetings. Illinois, I think, did a pretty good job. Last week, they brought everybody kind of together by doing I don't know if it's a call to action, but really purpose. Brian Hecker did a great job. I don't know how many people have seen it, but he did a good job just kind of reminding people that while we're in the business, it was kind of almost an MDRT type talk, but it really reminded us all that, you know, nothing happens until something happens. It was a really good talk. So I think from the state perspective, so I think locally, we're going to start doing some of those content talks to continue to pump out education and just continue to keep people engaged.
Great, great. That does help to get people engaged. Are you all doing anything fun? I know that some of the groups are having virtual happy hours, they're having virtual coffee breaks. Are you doing any of that, or are you just doing your board meetings and just doing your planning meetings?
California is doing both. We are actually right now in the process of encouraging our locals and affiliates to not only join the state Zoom happy hours, but also promoting for them to do their own besides the board meetings.
Great. And I see that Sandy Solomon is on here, and he says that North Carolina has increased their board meetings to once a month on Zoom, but limited to an hour of hot topics, and that the participation has been good. Is anybody else doing something similar to that? Have you increased your board meetings, or have you decreased?
Kept it the same.
California's the same.
Yeah, North Dakota, we've kept ours the same. We do them monthly via Zoom, and then we'll do quarterly or semi-annually in person, just depending on what's going on. We did start doing a virtual happy hour. We had our first one earlier this week. Went good. The attendance numbers weren't great, but those that were there was a positive success. And then we partnered with NAFA for our association management a couple months ago, I think. So our executive, I forget what her exact title is now, but she also works with, I think it's Wisconsin, who we borrowed the idea from, is Lunch with a Legend. And we're going to start doing that hopefully next month, where we have a member from our state talking on a hot topic that we can do via Zoom and lunch at your own office. So I'm pretty sure that was Wisconsin that we borrowed that idea from. So thank you to Wisconsin if that truly is your idea that we're going to take and run with.
So you're doing more of not just a board meeting, but you're doing some more regular meetings, doing more of a hot topic series.
Yeah, we haven't started doing it yet. We've got a meeting, myself, our association executive, and then our programs chair on Monday via Zoom. to kind of outline what that Lunch with a Legend idea is going to look like on top of the virtual happy hours. We did our first one of those, but the Lunch with a Legend is kind of a new idea that we're again borrowing and going to see how that goes, and we're looking for some good success. Yeah, just kind of North Dakota, we're a smaller state, so a lot of our members know each other. So we've got our half dozen, 2 dozen real prominent producers that are members that we're going to hopefully have them share some ideas with.
That's a great idea. Lunch with Legends. I love it. That's a great idea. Any other ideas like that?
Yeah, this is Brian Jollis. Brian Jollis from Maryland. How are you?
Great. Thank you, Brian.
Hey, I was going to say, we're using Zoom. We did our last board meeting in that way, and it seemed to work out well. I think our biggest concern, we tried Zoom last year to introduce regional meetings using a legislative breakfast up front, and then going to a speaker and trying to create a Zoom for the rest of the state. So we basically are saying that throughout the state, you have 4 virtual opportunities on top of all the monthly opportunities at the national level. But we didn't get a lot of people signing in. So what we're actually starting to build now is we're going to do our own state town hall meeting that we're going to build on. And we're going to have to do a telephone campaign to get people to participate in that, so we can tell them the importance to participate in these things that are coming up. Because otherwise, it's just going to be on deaf ears if we just send blasts out. So I think that's our way is with an introductory town hall at the state level to turn around and let them know what they're missing by not staying engaged at the national level. And we're going to continue to roll things out through the year. We need to get some momentum. So that's how we think we're going to get the momentum.
That's great. Those are great ideas. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you to everybody that's sharing these ideas. Great participation with this. Sandy Solomon, once again, he says he's included a list of quarantine survival tips and tactics that was well received. I can see that. Joe Challam, you said that you're holding a virtual symposium in place of your in-person symposium, and you plan to have live online CE. So Joe, tell us about that.
Well, we're putting together 4 or 5 one-hour live presentations, sales, and some just very much fashioned after the NAFA town hall meetings. And we're going to be doing that at the same time frame that we would have had our state symposium. And right now we're looking at adding some live CE because we know that people typically aren't getting that. We also want to make sure that we have that our sponsors have an opportunity to participate, because they're really getting the short end of this, because they're used to coming to local meetings and state meetings and being able to share what they have to say, and they can't do that because we're not having face-to-face meetings. So we want to make sure that we include them in the planning of the virtual symposium.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for sharing this. There was a question too, if we could get, Sandy, could you email myself, email Suzanne, could you email us your letter? There was a question about that. Talking about the town halls on here, how many of you are participating? Yes.
Could I interrupt you? I know Dwayne Borsherding from Ohio has been texting me. He's just on the phone, so I muted him. Dwayne, did you want to talk about what Ohio's done in this time?
Yeah, we had last week Penny on, and I'm trying to think what day it was. I believe it was Tuesday, and shared we invited members and non-members, and I believe we had right at 100 in attendance. And the theme of it was virtually, or basically how to, do your business, without your office, doing it virtually. So that was our first big one, and that was he was going to be our speaker at our state meeting. I guess we had that the following day or the same day that the meeting was supposed to be. So we tried to take the lemons and make lemonade out of it at that point. So yeah, very well attended.
That's great. That is great. Thank you. Thanks, Dwayne, for sharing that. You guys are doing lots of good things, and I know that you've really amped it up. So thank you for really reviving your state, Dwayne, and taking a strong lead in that and moving them forward. We have a question here, and I may mispronounce this, Mahan Schultz. Can these ideas be captured as a summary and shared with us, please? Yes, there's lots of great ideas here that we can capture and that we can put those together for you. There was a mention of town halls. How many of you are promoting the town halls, attending the town halls? How many of you are on those town hall meetings and using those? Jennifer's shaking her head yes. Who else is using those and promoting those? Several of you are.
This is Michelle.
You have been?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So as we're going along with this, you know, there's lots of things to learn and to look at and to do differently. What are some things that you have learned from operating virtually and from really changing your whole meeting structure, the whole way that you've operated, the whole way that NAIFA has operated for the past 130 years? What have you learned, and what are some of your best tips that you can share as we move about and as we operate virtually?
I think one thing we have to realize is the whole paradigm has changed. When you're doing face-to-face meetings, you're often very geographically restricted. When you're doing virtual meetings, the reality is we can invite the entire country. And I'm hoping that in time, the NAIFA calendar, NAIFA National Calendar, can reflect all of the different opportunities that people have, especially if they're not conflicting with each other. So people have choices, and then when prospective members come on and look at all that activity, they really will have a true smorgasbord to choose from of what they're interested in.
Yes, that's a great thing. That is the intent of NAIFA Live, but there are other states that are partnering together. I just received an invitation from a neighboring state that they were having a meeting and that they were inviting our state to be a part of that. So that is something that absolutely you can do. You're right, geography holds no bounds for us now.
Hi,
What
Cammie.
else are you learning?
Hi,
Yes.
Cammie. This is Patrick down in Tampa, Florida.
Great. Welcome, Patrick.
Hey, I have two learnings I thought that I could share. We were scheduled to have our typical lunch program, a 4 under 40 panel. So we moved that to virtual, and I was a little concerned about that because I just thought that there'd be a lot of folks talking over each other. But I think even in this example, you know, Lord knows how many people we have on. I think people are pretty used to doing things over Zoom now, so that doesn't really need to be a concern. It went really well. Now, for this particular one, they did about a 15-minute prep call last Friday, where the moderator and the person that was going to be running the Zoom and the 4 panelists, they just did a little 15-minute run through for some of the handoffs. But the moderator, I thought, did something really smart. She set people up, you know, as she was saying the questions, she would be like, and Cammie, I'm going to start with you, and then I'm going to go to Joe. And that was something that I learned from her that I would do if I ever was moderating something like that. I think the other thing that I learned, and this is only the first one we've done, so, you know, I think we're all going to get smarter on this call. But at least judging by yesterday, you know, typically when we have these meetings at a luncheon, you know, the general rule of thumb is, hey, if you get 40 people to sign up, you're probably going to get 3 to 5 more at the door, and you're probably going to get 45. I think it might work a little bit differently. So what I've learned is, you know, not that you ever want to take your foot off the gas, but people sign up for things and then they're at home, they're at desk, they get a client call now, somebody comes to their desk. So we had great sign up, but actual, you know, attendance was probably about 70% of the folks that signed up. So, you know, maybe that's some math that at least happened here in Tampa that some other folks may want to take into consideration when they're trying to figure out, you know, exactly what attendance is probably going to be. That's it.
Those are good points. Those are good points. How are you using social media? Do you have somebody that's dedicated to help you promote your meetings, or how is that working for you? Mahon says that they are looking for someone. Executive staff is doing it.
We have one
Does
person.
anybody have? You have one person?
Yeah, we have one person that does it. Although it would be great to have, you know, multiple people, multiple channels, multiple people, but, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Brian
Pat-
Dallas. Can you hear me? I
Yes.
just wanted to add, you asked a question a while back of how are we using our financial resources since we're not doing some travel and some other things. I think what you just brought up, considering, I know for a short period of time, I don't know if that person is still employed, but we brought on a social media person who was making some outward calls and doing social media for just a very short period of time for a specialized situation. But I'm thinking that's a great way to use those resources, to use it to pay for a social media and outreach person. Because I still think the biggest problem that we're going to have is that even though it's a quick learning curve to people getting used to being on a Zoom, even our own membership throughout our state, they just don't make the time to jump on. They don't understand the value that they're missing. And we need someone to have either, if they can't do face-to-face, it's got to be voice-to-voice, and get them on the phone and tell them that they need to get on. And it's about all of us together that will make a difference, that they're not just one person, that every person who thinks that way is hurting your association and the value that we're bringing to our constituents and to each other. But that message doesn't come across in an email because they never read it. So we do need that social media person and the telephone contact to do that. That's what I think.
That's a great thought. I would agree with you that that's an area that lots of people, we get a lot of information from there, but actually having a plan and having a person that's dedicated for that, that can be a bit tricky to get that all put together. So using that money, that's a great idea for that. We've got just a few more minutes here. If anyone has any other ideas they'd like to share, by all means, jump on and share those. What are some things that you need? Are there any tools? Are there any resources? Are there things that you need us to help develop, that you need us to help put together for you? What do you need during this time?
Hey, Cami, I have a question. A little bit earlier in our meeting, someone mentioned that they're doing virtual CE credits.
Mm-hmm.
Is the groundwork laid there for what's needed to make that happen? In other words, is there someone in particular we can contact to ask more about that's on this meeting? I don't remember who said it, and it was too many comments ago that I can't find it.
Robert, I believe.
Okay. I'm sure there are requirements for it to make sure that people are in attendance, that they're paying attention, that they're engaged. And so I don't think that we've done that footwork yet in Alaska, but we sure are interested in it. So is Robert, you said?
I think you're going to need to check with your state because that's state specific. And I know in Florida, what they're requiring is random questions. They're just basically questions to make sure that you're still there. And they can be really simple and totally unrelated, like what color is the sky, that type of thing. And the other part that I just took one this morning, and what I had to do was sign and email back a document attesting that I was actually took it. So I think the main thing is that you have to check with your local Department of Insurance in your state to determine what their requirements might be.
Okay, thank you. And what I was going to add when you were asking what we've learned is one thing that I've learned in meeting virtually is to keep people engaged in chat and maybe even have someone moderate and ask questions so that it will start to two things. First, orient people with the fact that there is a chat area, and also let them engage and ask questions and communicate. And I think that's how we could do CE questions as well, right?
Good idea.
Okay.
Yes.
Dane, you answered that Iowa just did 2 hours last week. How did you do that?
We did 2 hours in, it was more of a deep dive of disability insurance, and Rick Cordero did that. And throughout the 2 hours, they had 3 different questions that the moderator just made up. So like one of the questions was, what's the best football or best college team? So in Iowa, we have Iowa, Iowa State, and University of Northern Iowa. So there was no right answer. It's just a total engagement. We had 107 register, and I can't remember who said it, but we only had 65 actually attend. So the whole not taking your foot off the gas, I would totally agree with that after experiencing that much of a shrinkage.
Mm-hmm.
But we did 2 hours of the DI, and then we had a motivational / coach give some speech in there too. So we did 2.5 hours total for the event. And then we did a virtual happy hour, which was a separate event at 4:30 last Friday.
Did you
Mm-hmm.
find that everyone or mostly everyone stayed on for the entire 2-hour CE?
There was about 9-person fluctuation. I think it went down to as many as 58, and then I think it still came back up closer to 67 at the end. And then for our virtual happy hour, which was a separate event, separate Zoom meeting, I think we had as many as 15 on that went about an hour.
Okay.
And then those CEs are classroom CEs. They're not the internet CEs.
Meaning
That's the other thing, that Iowa has classroom CEs available, even though that they're done virtual.
what's the distinction? A test or no test?
I think it's the chat and the interaction that you have to do in those CE events, where the internet only is like a book study or a test or whatever. In Iowa, you have to have half your CEs classroom.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
That's good to know. Well, we've had lots of good information that have been shared here today. Thank you to everyone for sharing, for participating. We've had so many great ideas. Was this helpful to you all? Did you enjoy this format? Did it help
Yes.
you to get some new ideas and help to pull some new things together?
Yes.
Good, good.
Absolutely.
So we will have another one of these next month. You should have an invite for that. And so our plan is to continue sharing these ideas and really hearing and learning from each other. Kevin, do you have anything you'd like to add, or Brock or Suzanne? Anybody have anything else that they would like to add before we go?
Just keep your eyes out for notices regarding NAIFA Impact Week, for our town hall meetings. Encourage people to go and engage. Reach out to your members, let them know you care about them, and then of course reiterate the fact that NAIFA is there for them every single day. You guys stay well. Thanks for being here.
Yes. Brock, do you have anything you want to add?
Nothing big, just exciting to hear everything that everybody's doing around the country. From the treasurer's perspective, we've got money, that's always good. A lot of good things going. I would just, the one thing I always reiterate, please be focused on how, what Dennis talked about, how we continue to drive membership and dues revenue, and then secondarily, non-dues revenue opportunities, whether it be through things like the LACP program. I would add that to the mix of, things that people could be doing while in sort of home lockdown. What are things that they can be doing to get better, to sharpen the saw, that type of thing. So let's try to work on those opportunities to keep all this good stuff going. So thanks for everything that everybody's doing, and stay healthy, wash your hands.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, if you have questions, if you have thoughts, if you have ideas, please reach out, please email us. We want to build this network. We want to continue to build this community, this NAIFA family that we've got, and sharing of ideas and really lifting each other up during this time. So thank you all for being a part of this, and we will talk again next month. Stay safe, wash your hands, as Brock said.